Good afternoon. This is Lady Charlotte, and this afternoon I'm going to do a couple of little hand building things. And what I do with the hand building is I make some really cute little critters. This piece here that I got in my hand, that's just something that's been worked and worked and worked. So we're going to work it some more. And one of the, out at the fair, which doesn't look like I'm going to get to go to it again this year, but when we go out to fair, I get to give demos out there. And, you know, they're short. They're not a whole lot to them. So I came up with some very short little projects that you can do, you know, do in a 15-20 minute time. And that's what we got here. We've got a project we can do that with. Now this first one that I'm going to do one called a mushroom. And I take a coil and just, you know, you want it to have a nice firm bottom. So we got that figured out. We got his bottom. See, he's, take it over here to you. It's got a nice flat bottom to it now. And then what I do, throw it between my hands, like this. And then I take and put my hands around it like this. And I kind of just squeeze like I was bothering somebody. And then I get really mad at them. And I start paddling on them, just pounding away on them. And now we have, let's go back to his original centerpiece. And we pounded down everything. Set this one up a little bit more. After you squeeze them and you've made that firm indentation, you have to kind of go back and make the foot of the little guy work. And now what I'm going to do is to take, I'm going to take my stamp out first. I'm going to get my stamp out, and I'm going to turn the little guy over and stamp his bottom. Now, sometimes when I'm making mushrooms and other things, and especially when I'm doing them out there, I don't use porcelain out there. I use one of the lower fire clays. And then I take my this is my needle tool, and what I'm going to do with it is just go where you can't see me. I'm getting good at that, huh? Okay, here we go. I think you can see me pretty good here now. We're going to take this needle tool and we're going to go right to the base of the mushroom and come out. Out to the edge. Out to the edge. Out to the edge. And as I go around, taking it out to the edge, close at the base of the head of the mushroom. But it's just gradually getting further and further. And if you ever pick up a real mushroom, you'll notice that they have these little kind of striping thing on the underneath part. And this is how we get that. We just go round and round and round. And bring that all up. This is one of my quick and easies. You know? And when you get through, and it's been fired, and it's been glazed, they are really an awesome piece. That was for a part over here, didn't you? And when you go and tell people how you did it or show them how you did it, it's like, I could have done that. And yes, mushrooms, anyone can do, even little babies. I've had my 2-year-old granddaughter making quite a few mushrooms. And she really spanks them. And she gets after them. She's going to be a natural in clay. If she can get away from Mama and Daddy long enough, she'll come out here and spend time in the studio with Grandma. And she loves to play in the studio. She rearranges all my glazes. She's pretty sure that I've got them put up wrong, so she needs to take them all out and put them all back her way. She's going to do it her way. And her way is not a bad way. I think she's going to be very artistic when she's older. I mean, she's artistic now at lesson 2. And she's made a piece on the wheel. And we fired it. And it's going to be a keepsake for her Mama and Daddy because she was less than 2 years old when she made that. And she's just barely 2 now, or just a little over 2. And now she's stopped speaking a foreign language for the most part. It still creeps in there every once in a while. But she's pretty much started speaking, normal, everyday American slang, whatever. But she's a caution. And we love her. A little bit of droop here on these outer edges of the mushroom. And there we have the mushroom. And the mushroom is, you can see the underbelly of the mushroom. Now these mushrooms can be made, this is kind of the ones I make this size, but they can be made any size. And if you wanted a bigger one, well, maybe if I get all the clay out, we'll have a bigger one. Okay. We cut the clay off of the other clay. We're just going to work this up a little bit into And we're going to make a bigger mushroom. Now this clay has been wedged and worked with and put back in a bag, and so that's what we're doing right now. We're working with it. You probably can't really see what my hand's doing over here, but it's wedging this little tiny piece of clay. And now that it's wedged up, I'm going to beat it a little bit over here. Kind of out of your view, but that's what I'm doing, is beating it. And now I'm going to roll out a carrot-shaped coil. It's wider at the top and narrower at the bottom. And now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to give it a good thing there. Okay, we've got its bottom going. Now we're going to take this hand, and we're going to go down as far as we can on this one. And we're going to squeeze really, really hard. Really, really hard. Squeeze hard. Squeeze hard. And this is where we start to smack them. Smack them, smack them, smack them. Smack them, smack them, smack them. This is the fun part. And if you have anybody that you have issues with for whatever reason, you can always pretend that this is them. You know, your ex-boyfriend. So we spread this out pretty much over the course. So now we're going to see if we can untangle ourselves from the shroom. And as you can see, we totally lost our flat place when we set it down. Okay, we have the flat plates again. We will go ahead and do this. Get our stamp there so that pull this over just a little bit more so that you can see what I'm doing. And there's the stamp. And now you see all these lines of texture in the thing. That's my gloves. It's awesome, and they make some really cool freckle designs. So, anyway, you have seen me do the rest of this, so that's not something that you want to just see over and over and over again. So, we will set this mushroom aside, and we'll see where we go from there. We still have another piece of clay in here. And with this piece of clay, I'm going to take off about this much of it right now. And then this part. Okay. And we have 3 pieces of clay. And what we're going to do with these pieces of clay is we're going to make seahorses. think I moved things around a little bit where you can see what I'm doing now. Move the camera over this way just a little bit more. Okay, I think I can get in the picture here without too much trouble. Get that sack out of the way. Like I said, the first thing we're going to do is going to roll him out, and very much like I roll the other ones out, I leave a little bit of a head at the top of the body. So we're going to roll us out a fat coil. And like I said, it goes down where I will leave some up here to work with. And then I will work my way down the coil, making it get longer and longer as we go. Now, just for pointers, this is probably not the very best surface that you can roll out. That being that when you do roll one out here, it kind of dries them out because of the fabric content here. So, let me get down here a little closer. Oh, that was good. Okay, that's pretty good for this biggest one. So, what we're going to do here in this area that we have that we didn't really play with. So, what we're going to do here, we're going to take this and we're going to make a head of the seahorse. And I pinch him up and squeeze him, and he has kind of a long snout. He has a indentation here in his jawline that really, sticks out. And here we're going to pinch the little fin-like things. And make sure that you understand this is not a replication of any kind of a actual live seahorse. This is a art dispute. It's what I think it ought to look like. Now, I have noticed in the creation of my seahorses, which I do love my seahorses, I really do. But the seahorses have a built-in problem. And that built-in problem is that the seahorses have nowhere to be. What can you do with them after you buy them? You leave them laying on a table somewhere for a paperweight? That is an option that we could foresee. We could have them sitting on their tail, but if they do that, they're still going to fall over. They can't sit on their tail. Okay, so how about we hang them from something? And all we need to do now is to give ourselves a hole and a place to hang. Okay? So, this is what we're going to do. Right in here would be the eye of the seahorse. Or at least it's the eye of my seahorse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this needle tool, I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to go all the way through. See that? So now I'm going to turn him over, and I'm going to go right back through that same hole. Okay, so now we've put a rather large eyeball on here. And I'm just reaming out the area. Now, I'm making a pretty good sized hole, so it shouldn't Now, if you want a lot of detail, you can come back through here and you can go in and make these little guys stand out like that. Go around, get them all done on both sides. That's usually the way I do them. Sometimes I don't do them at all. I just leave them blank. It depends on how I'm feeling that day, you know. Right now I'm waiting for some pieces to hurry up and get drier so that I can trim them. I can't do it too fast or it will not work. Anyway, here is our little seahorse. And as you can see, he was easy to make. So we put him over here like that. And we take this little ball of clay and we roll it up. That seahorse is too fat. The first one I made, he's just way too fat. So, going to smack him on the bottom. Okay, now, roll him out. And rolling is going forward, you have some pressure. Coming back, you don't. Rolling forward, coming back. Rolling forward, coming back. Rolling forward, coming back. And that will give you a nice, even coil. Forward, bring back. Rolling forward, bring back. Forward, bring back. And that's all it is you're going forward and bringing it back. You're not pushing on the back. You're just letting the fingers bring the clay back to you. Where you're pushing is on the pulling out movement. The pulling back movement is just straight. And you don't have any pressure on it. Now, if you had gotten to where your coil was, this one isn't that way, but if you'd gotten where your coil was flat, where it's going bump, 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 okay, you take it and you twist it like this with this hand and like this with this hand. And then you roll again, rolling out, mill it, pulling out, bring back, pulling out, bring back, pulling out, bring back. You see, those are some of the things. I'm putting a little bit of moisture onto this because it is drying out pretty fast. You can see the cracks in the Seahorse over here. He's been laying down and he's got stuff going on. I'll have to revisit him in a little bit and make sure we got everything going right. Going out, bring back, out, bring back, out, bring back, out, bring back, out, bring back. And you can do it with two hands, and it gets a little bit faster if you do it with two hands, because you can go in both directions. And we'll talk about that on another lesson. But that is the main process that you're doing, is rolling out the coil. Now, the coil does not want to be even. It wants to be heavy at this end and right out to practically nothing at the other end. And you need a fairly long tail, so you don't want to cut your guy too short. This one could have been a little bit smaller, especially in the head part. This is about where I would want it to be. It took me a long time to learn that little trick about twisting your coils up. Wish I'd have known that when I was at the university. I had a lot of square coils. Flat coils. Okay, and here we go again. And we got this part of the head up, and we're going to go down like that and push out his little snout. Push out his little snout like that, flatten it, pull it over. Do I don't know what to call this, the kind of the, I don't know, the mane on a horse, but it's not exactly the mane on this thing here, but that's okay. Now you see how that one tore apart? Well, I probably shouldn't have been making this one until we had all of our manipulating done. This little guy, he's going to come up here and he's going to pull around like this. Now this one, I think I'm going to leave the not going to put any texture in these little, whatever we're calling them, chin-like things. Now they're kind of what makes my Seahorse stand out, that he's a Seahorse. But in real life, seahorses don't have that. They have this little teeny weeny one on their back. So, and now we've done everything but the eye. And this time, I am going to push it all the way through. See, just like sewing a needle. And you see how much easier that was than what I was doing before? So we're going to go back to the big guy, and we're going to do just exactly this with him. Okay, I'm going to pick this guy up again, and we're going to push through this needle tool, and that will give you a even eye hole. There we go. There's the mommy and the daddy. And this little guy's going to be the baby. I'm just kind of working him in my hands and aligning those little clay particles so they're going in the right direction. So now we're going to start out with a twist. We're going to go ahead and just twist it up like it was all crooked. And go out, come out and come back, out, come back, out and come back. Now, you'll notice that I have a wider at the top, very narrow at the bottom, right? And that's what I want. So I keep rolling it in that, rolling with more pressure here than here. And we don't want this end here to get too narrow. So we're going to go back up here and get a little bit more of the clay from up in here to bring down and put in the tail. This is such an easy and fun process, particularly good for kids. Kids love the mushrooms. They love the seahorses. I also do some little turtles, and they really go for the turtles. But I think seahorses and mushrooms is enough for this tutorial. So we'll finish this little guy up, and check and see if my ladies over here are ready for trimming. I'm afraid they're not. Maybe later this evening. Okay, and here we go. Pull his nose down and over and down and over and push in for his little snout. Make sure you got his little squared off snout there, because that's one of his characteristics as a seahorse, is to have that little squared off snout sticking out there. Now, as I told you previously, I'm putting these little, what do you want to call them, fake fins, and I'm doing this in such a way that it is by any means, I'm not trying to copy a real live seahorse. A real live seahorse would look a lot different. But this is a seahorse of my imagination. And it's like a light artist license. So, if I want to make seahorses with little things on their back, I will. A real seahorse would have just a single fin back here. He wouldn't have all this. He would just have his skinny little body, which my little seahorses are a little bit on the fat side. They probably need to go see one of those guru guys that helps you get ready for whatever. Fixes it where you lose weight. Now, how bad is that? There is, let me pull them down here so you can see them. There is there we go. There's a daddy and a mama and a baby. And other than, picking them up and giving them a few little once-overs, because the clay was pretty dry, and then rolling it out on that surface. You're probably thinking this looks like the kind of material you'd find on a ironing board. And you know what? You would be absolutely right. Because that is exactly what we have here, is an ironing board. I saw this in a catalog. I'm not sure which catalog I'd give them credit for it if I could remember what catalog it was. But anyways, I saw this, I took one look at it, and I said, that would be a perfect hand building station. Well, I thought about it 2 days. And I thought about it and finally decided, okay, I'm going to get it. I mean, it wasn't like $59 or something like that. No, this little guy cost a little bit more. And I'm going to show it to you. Yeah, you get a good shot of me, huh? Okay, what you want to look at is are you getting this at all? So I'll have to turn it around again. Aha. It's got it floating around again. Isn't that strange? Okay. You look down here, and it has some cabinets underneath here. The cabinet. Up here is a big drawer. Big drawer where I've got rolling pins and templates. And up here we have a drawer on this side, and that's for whatever. And a drawer on this side for more whatevers. And the top surface is just like this. And, you know, I can roll out clay on this surface. It's not going to stick. And I can, right now I've got a board up here that I had been using for something, and I just didn't take it down. But, this is where we do our hand building now. We used to do our hand building over here in this corner, but that's going to be strictly processing food, or food clay. I have so much that needs to be taken care of. So, anyways, this is me signing off. Oh, that's my shop vac. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah. It does a good job in here. It really does. So, anywho, I will catch you on the flip side. Shout it out.